What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Grit. And I'm so super excited for our guest today, Barbara Walker from Hartland Insurance. And I got to meet Barbara thanks to Noreen Owens, who was a guest a few weeks ago. She connected us, and it's one of those things. I've seen Hartland Insurance around for a while. I was telling Barbara a couple weeks ago, the very first person that reached out to me when I joined the chamber, when I started my business 8 years ago, was Jim Campbell from Hartland Insurance. And he's been an ambassador with the Brighton Chamber for years and somebody that takes care of the community. And then I got to do some work and meet Jake Andrews, and I just did a chamber drive with him a few weeks ago as well. And so just seeing the heart that is out in the community, no pun intended with the heart, but but getting to meet Barbara and hear her story and how this has all come about, going all the way back to 1978, and so I'm super excited. Like I say, there's stories that are data with soul. There's going to be so many stories in here that you can learn from as an entrepreneur when you have somebody that has went through all the scales and also is a difference maker, believing in taking care of the community first. And so, Barbara, it is my honor. Thank you so much for coming in the studio today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. And so, again, it's so cool to see how things come to fruition. And a lot of people listening to the show could be at all stages of business, but there's a lot of people that are starting.
Right.
And so to get that kind of glimpse going all the way back,
Yeah, it's a tough start. We joke about it that when we started, we ate chicken noodle soup and macaroni and cheese, and then when our kids went to college, we ate chicken noodle soup and macaroni and cheese. It's kind of a process that you go through, and there are different stages and different times in your business career that things are great, and then there are times when you have to struggle to get to the next step. So encouragement and lots and lots of good thoughts and good training is what's going to help get you where you want to be.
I love that because I think there's a lot of misconceptions on both sides, and you see people that are like, they think that all business people just have it made, we get hit up for all the fundraisers and all the kind of stuff, which is, we want to be part of the community, but
Right.
it's not an everlasting flow of money. As a small business owner, some days you're eating macaroni and cheese or a ramen noodle or, whatever it takes. And then there are some people that are terrified of it because they think it's a horrible, scary thing. And I think, it can be that flow.
It's a roller coaster some days, but some of the things that, people worry about that aren't business owners are very different than those of business owners. So every day we wake up, we know that we have so many people on our team that we need to make sure the day goes well and that they're all going to go home with a paycheck. So there's a lot of stress on a business owner, and learning how to deal with that and making the best of it each and every day is important.
It's almost like if you look at comparing it to growing up, there's just new, bigger problems that you've got to solve.
That's correct. You are constantly figuring that out. And of course, in any business, in our business, we have many different generations. So we have all of the different thought processes. It's different when you're in your 20s as opposed to when you're in your 60s. How you learn to work with people and how you treat them, and then how much compassion you have and how you work with the community. At Hartland Insurance, we've always been there for our community. We've wanted to be able to take care of what we could afford, and what we could give of ourselves, of our own talents. And it has been ever changing. Every situation is different, and every nonprofit that we work with needs something different, and every client that we have, they have needs, and sometimes you are brought into situations you never thought you would be a part of.
That is amazing. So something I was thinking of as you were saying that is, I had this mentor that changed my life. And one of the things he said that has always stood out to me is, he was like, the best thing about aging is you get the wisdom, you grow your perception and your reality change, but you still remember who you were back and when you were 20, 25, and kind of you were making. And what has that been like as you've really grown up through business?
We did. So we started in the agency. My husband and I were married 1 year, and my dad said, "Oh, this would be a great thing for you to be part of insurance. You'll love it." And I said, "No, I don't think so, Dad. We're newlyweds, both of us in the business, and something we've never, done before that is really tough." And we had lots of hard conversations. And finally, we all agreed, okay, we're young enough that if it doesn't work after a year, we didn't want to damage our family relationship by being in business together. There's a lot of people out there that pass down businesses. So, an encouraging word, it can work. You just have to work at it. And so we came in the business, and here we are today because my father was an absolute awesome mentor and a teacher. So he did a great job teaching us the business so that we could take care of the community. And it's been an awesome opportunity. We were not didn't have him as long as we would like. He had a massive heart attack and passed. But while he was there, the lessons that he taught us and me especially were, amazing.
Thinking about that and reflecting on that, because you never know, you never know, how much time we have and that kind of thing. And thinking about that decision of going into business, working together, how that all could play out. How grateful are you that you had that experience of working so closely?
Very grateful because you're with your parents and you grow up with them and then you go on your own. But then when you come back and you work with them, you see them in a different light, see things that they do that you never knew. And of course, back in the early 80s, life was a little different. We didn't have the little cell phones and all the computer world that we have today. I can remember our first computer was probably half the size of this table, and our cell phones were in a big bag that you carried in your car. And so it's different. The times have changed, but
And it
there's
was so
been,
expensive to actually make a call
oh,
on those
oh
phones.
yeah, you didn't use them. Yeah, you just had them. Yeah, it was very expensive. But as things change, the world gets much faster. And so keeping up with what you have to do on a daily basis is difficult. And so making sure that everybody's brought along so they don't get left behind is important.
That's huge because you talk about going from, being your dad, being you, being your husband, and being a small business. But then you mentioned like all of a sudden then you're bringing on employees and it's not
Hmm.
just about you anymore, but you
No.
have other people's families and their livelihoods as well.
And you want to protect that because you want for them, we treat our employees like family and you want them to be a part. And then partway through the journey, my sister came into the business, so she's also an owner with us. And it's different dynamics that you bring to the table. And then recently, our son has come in the business. So for everyone listening that has family, it's really is awesome to work together. So try it because the way you treat your family is the way you should treat all of your team members and make them want to come to work every day and want to be a part and want to add to the success because they're part of it.
I know that, before we started recording, talking about building up the cell phone company, and that was really what it was all about, was bringing people in and making them part of a family culture and taking care of them like family. But with that too, understanding like, what do you want out of life and how can we help you achieve that? And it's just, it creates they understand why they're there and versus just going to a job and making money.
Right, you have to have the why. What's your why? What do you do in your life that the reason you want to make money? What is the reason that you want to be able to help somebody? What's the reason that you want to give up some of your personal time to make somebody else's life wonderful? We always ask, for your time and your talent, and then what you can add to the community. What are you doing for your community, and how are you a part of that?
What are some of the big takeaways lessons you've learned from your dad?
Um, I would say, a lot of it is never to judge somebody. Okay, so when somebody walks in the
Mm.
door and they need something, you have no idea where they're coming from, what their background is, um, and to have compassion. I think that's a big part of it. My dad worked for corporate America and said, I don't want to do, just like you said, you don't want to do this anymore. It's time. I want to be able to do something where I can be in my community, and that was the reason he wanted to go to work for himself. So yeah.
What would you think he would say? What year did he pass away?
1992.
92. So what would you think he would say if he saw
Oh,
what it is today?
he probably would be very, it would be overwhelming because with the technology,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
the technology and we now have 3 locations and 38 employees. And so we grew from the 3, 4 person office that, we were in. And that was just because we work with people to help them work through their issues. To obviously, yes, you have to have certain types of insurance. It's required. If you have a mortgage, you have to have property insurance. If you have an auto and you drive in Michigan, you have to have liability on your auto. So yes, they have to buy the product, but they don't have to buy all the products, and they have to be comfortable with what they purchase. So we never, you know, we have to give them the options of what they can purchase, and it has to be something they're comfortable with. So
And when you're looking at insurance and finances and those things, sometimes it can be a little bit uncomfortable, I'm sure,
it
for
can.
people.
It can, and a lot of times people go through things as they're with your agency. People lose loved ones. I can remember one of our first life insurance claims was just horrific because you sell the product hoping that they don't use it until they're very old and have lived their life, but that's not always the case. So it's but when you're standing there helping somebody after a major loss, that it gives you, the reason this is why I do this. So
I'm sure there's like checks that you've had to deliver, or been able to not had to, but been able to deliver that it helps
it
with
does,
some
it
grief.
does, yeah. So we have personally, as we talked about earlier, have also suffered loss. Our building burned to the ground, and it makes you understand all the different parts of the claims process that you might not have understood before, and all the grieving that you do. It's We stood out in front of the building with our staff the day after and told them all it was going to be okay. We were going to be fine, and we would come through this. And you know, the things, everybody has personal things that they had at their desk that they lost. So everyone had a loss when the fire occurred. And that's a lot of coaching and caring that takes place, even just for our staff. Not to mention, clients were so generous coming by with food and coffee, and it was an amazing experience.
I would always make a joke, and it's pretty true actually. Like in all my locations, I could always tell who was doing a good job at Christmas time because
Yeah,
you go in the back and like they would all have like baked goods and all these things delivered from their clients and stuff. And it's so cool because we do something from a business standpoint, and we have these clients that are paying us money because they have to. Like
right,
I mean, they
right,
get to choose who, but from the most part, there's a lot of things that they just have to have insurance
right.
on, and for you to impact them so much that they are now turning around
Thankful.
and taking care of you.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, and we have, but we live in a county. We live that is so giving. There are
Agreed.
so many people out there and businesses that are 100% on board with lifting up someone, giving somebody a step up in some way.
Yeah, even through like the COVID process, everything going on and all the uncertainty, I'm like, we're so blessed to be where we're at. I don't know, maybe it's like that everywhere, but I just feel like as a whole, the business community really is, we want to see each other succeed. And there is
Right.
really so many people that run to lift you up or band together. And I got to see, you get to see it through those types of stressful, uncertain situations.
The small business owners, I give them a lot of credit. The ones that made it through, I feel for the ones that didn't, but the ones that made it through all of it, they gave their own, sweat and hours and trying to make it work, trying to help their employees. We saw it, all over Livingston County. It was, and a lot of people stuck together, tried to figure it out, would support all that they could to go to, whether it be the restaurants or the little retail stores or whatever it was. And a lot of businesses made it, which was amazing because of that.
It was amazing. And I told you beforehand, I had retail locations in Ann Arbor.
Hmm.
And specifically, there was one downtown Ann Arbor. And no matter what was going on in the world, downtown Ann Arbor had their own economy, right? There's always just something.
There's something,
They were
yes.
always doing, they're always doing well.
Hmm.
And it was very startling driving into Ann Arbor all through that COVID phase because there was nobody on the streets. I was going to meet a client over there who has an office by Zingerman's, and I was on the way there dreading finding parking. And then I pulled up and there was like tumbleweeds going through the parking lot and there's
Yeah,
nobody there. And it's like, wow. And then I go to downtown Brighton and there are people eating in the igloos outside in the winter, and it's
right.
just a difference of mentality of we're going to support our local businesses.
Right, right. And that was one of the best things that happened is being able to shut the street down so they could make space outside, so that they could survive. And that's, our county made that happen, So, yeah.
It is cool. Again, being able to support those local businesses and you saw it wide range happening and
Yeah.
that's just COVID and the experiences, but it's just being grateful for that. I'm on the Believe in Brighton board now and like
Oh,
doing the
okay.
Taste of Brighton and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
me and we live downtown Brighton and we constantly say we're me and my wife constantly call us self-proclaimed ambassadors of Brighton.
Ambassadors of
We're like
Brighton.
when people are down there and you can tell they're tourists and they're taking pictures, we're down there like telling them where to go get the pictures and like well here we'll get you, and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool to be a part of something that is driving that business and community. 'Cause again, I guess that's the big word I was trying to come up across is just that community.
Right. And it's all of them. Heartland is, making their way, trying to figure out with different programs. They have the Art in the Park program in Heartland now. Has really brought a lot of the community together because they're bringing in their own artwork. They're showing it at all the small businesses, and then the
That
community
is
can
really cool.
go around and view it. Um, there's a lot of things like that going on in a lot of different little cities right here in Livingston County, which makes it, you know, Brighton and Howell have lots and lots of activities downtown that bring the community together. Fowlerville is working on that, Pinckney, Hamburg, they're all coming together to make it so that the community can come out and visit and see each other and have pie eating contests or have whatever it is that brings people together.
It is really we are very blessed to have the organizations like the Heartland Chamber and
Hmm.
the different chambers in our community and just the people putting the work in to make there be a reason to go downtown or to
Right,
have that
right.
celebration.
Right, and there's so many. I mean, I think most of the towns have historical societies trying to keep the history alive.
Yeah.
A lot of them have the chambers, they have, rotaries, they have all kinds of different organizations to bring people together to help one another. And I think that's why we're blessed to live in this community.
It's really cool because you say that and it's understanding your history and everything. Because for years, seeing Heartland Insurance, I wondered, is it affiliated with being in Heartland? Is in those kinds of you don't know.
Yes, we started in Hartland. Originally, if you are familiar at all with Hartland, the area where the McDonald's is, that used to be a building that we were in it's in that same area, and there was a D&N bank in there, and so we were in that building, and then we were in downtown for a little while, but then we moved into the building that we built on Old 23. So, but
Where's the one that ended up burning down?
on Old 23, we
That's
rebuilt
okay.
it.
That's the one
Yep,
that rebuilt now.
yep.
Okay.
It's on Old 23, and we're a quarter mile north of 59, and have been there in between Old 23 and the Expressway for a long time. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I drive by you at least a couple times a week.
Oh, do
I
you?
play basketball in Milford, so
Oh,
at the high
okay.
HVAC
Yeah.
building. So
Yeah, we've grown a lot. Heartland didn't have much of anything when I was growing up. I went to Hartland High School, graduated from Hartland High School, and there wasn't a lot in Hartland at the time, so you would go to the other cities that were close, depending upon where you lived. And we have just blossomed.
there is a
So
lot there in Heartland.
there's a lot now. We have a lot. I can remember the first time the big box store was coming in, and oh boy, what's going to happen now? We're getting a big box store, but everybody seems to support still what's there for the community, and it's been a good thing.
What have been, we talked a lot about being involved in the community itself. What's been your favorite part about doing business and being part of the community or being a difference maker in the community?
I think seeing what good you're doing. It's hard to be a part of something and not seeing the good that's coming out of it. Some of the nonprofits, I'm on a couple of the boards, and in particular, La Casa. La Casa is a safe haven for abuse, and it's amazing to see people come out and be wonderful citizens in the community again, and how they are being helped while they're going through tough trauma, and what is out there that can help them. And of course, we have a lot of those types of organizations. We have many in Livingston County is where their base is. You know, we have veteran help. We have help for people with abuse. We have help homeless. We have help for people that, and it's all being fueled by volunteers from our
Mm-hmm.
community.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's the part that is such a. It, there's not a community like us, I don't think, with so much care and concern. We're making meals all the time for certain nonprofits because they have food issues that they need. There are people that get food at Gleaners. I mean, it's one thing after the other.
It is, yeah.
We are not a community that doesn't have people that need help, but a lot of them get the help they need and step up and they make it, and then they come back and help with that same organization. So that is a blessing.
That is a blessing. And as you're sitting and talking about that, I'm flashing through the 250 some odd episodes I've had. And I've had people from outside of the community, but there's so many people that I've had on, the Habitat for Humanity. So I talked about Mark Howell at the beginning, Reaching Higher. I just had Steve Livingway on a few weeks ago, and he's an amazing guy. And, the Hockey Night program, and just so many different ways that we're finding ways to support people.
Right.
Whether it's abused women and children or disabled veterans, it's really cool to see, again, difference makers out there making our community stronger.
Right. And if you've never been to I'm sure if you had Habitat on, going to a Habitat build is amazing. Those are all volunteers.
Yeah.
Everybody is a volunteer. Nobody is getting paid. We are all giving of our time and our need everybody. So, if there's anything you can say, it's if you want to volunteer, we can find a spot because there's a lot of places. Even if your talent is reading, maybe you can read to a child. There's just so many things that people are in need, and we have a lot of mental health issues right now. So sometimes people just need a friend, just need someone to talk to.
It's so true. It's so true. I was telling you about the gentleman I had on yesterday that, and I started out the conversation, how's it going? And man, it's tough. Like when you have a loved one going through dementia and, and he was explaining to me that he has to daily break to her that her parents have passed away. And every time it's a big event for her.
Right.
And he's like, for me, I'm like, like it's tough because it's like, yeah, like it
Yeah.
happened a long time ago, but like it's, seeing that happen and then being able to just do this, just have fun, and it's
Yeah.
like how, and I told my wife, it's like so cool to have a situation and a platform like this where I can come on and bring this man on, 80 years old, and like make his day, and
Right.
like, and then it's not even over yet because then I'm going to put content out for him and stuff like that. It's fun.
Well, to be able to talk to him and find out, what is it that he's doing
Yeah.
that's making a difference, because other people are in that same situation. So a lot of times we don't tell our story. We need to tell our story. We need
Amen.
to make sure that people understand this is what's going on and this is how I learned I can help you.
It's absolutely, and sometimes people are afraid to tell their story.
Hmm.
And here's a really good example, and you'll enjoy this because this was an insurance guy that went through my boot camp, and I asked
Okay.
him one time, I'm like, "Why do you do what you do?
Hmm.
Like what? It can't be just about making money. It
Right.
has to be about like what is actually driving you other than making money, and what do you do what you do?" And without hesitation, he told me, I do what I do because I want to help people prevent them from being like my family. He was like, my dad passed away when I was in high school and he never got life insurance. He had it through work and he thought that we were covered. And with work, life insurance only covers you for a year and a half of your salary. And my mom had to go back and get a job and it just altered our financial future and, in our family income and everything that was going on. And it's like, wow, like to me, that's so incredibly human. And to me, if I don't have life insurance, I'm probably not going to tell the insurance guy that's standing across from me for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want to be sold. And two, like it's, I don't want to feel like, oh, I'm stupid. Like I don't have life insurance. And now, and whether that's going to happen, it's probably not going to happen that someone's going to judge me, but it's like that
Right.
risk of doing that when somebody can tell you a story of like, I do this because this, and all of a sudden your wall is down. I'm like, oh my God, you need to tell people that story.
That's right. That's right. And it's not about, for a lot of people, it's not about the money at all. It's about what they're able to do,
Yes.
what their profession offers them, what they can do, and especially in our profession, we're able to work, help, um, take care of our customers and our employees, our team, so that they can get better at what they do and they can take care of their families. And we hear a lot of stories. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen in the insurance world, and
Hmm.
we talk to customers on their worst day. We're the ones that talk to them on their worst day ever, whether it's lately ice dams, water
Yeah.
coming in their homes, whether it's the tornadoes or the hail, whether it's the 5 deer accidents that they just can't get a break because every time they turn around a deer is running in the road. There's a lot. We talk to them on the day that they're most upset, so it's important for us to know how they feel and to have those tough conversations with care and concern.
What I love in a big theme of this show, and a lot of guests I have they're in position to serve their people because they've went through experiences that allow them to completely empathize and understand their people, and because they've been through it and they have this expertise, they can now help those people. And I love how you tell that story about your office burning down and building burning down because there's more than just the building burning down. There's
Oh
so
yeah,
much emotion that goes into that.
there's a lot of emotion, and we our office, we wanted to be on site while it was being rebuilt, so we brought in a construction trailer
Oh, that's awesome.
and we sat at tables elbow to elbow. Everybody on my team that was in that trailer. I know what time they pick their kids up from school. I know what's in their kids' school lunchbox. I know, you just know because you're with them,
In such
sitting
tight quarters.
in tight quarters, and we had a lot of fun. So yes, it was a tragedy, and yes, it was really difficult at first. And yes, we went through difficult times. This, building something is never easy. Putting it back from the ashes is even harder. But we did it as a team, and you learn a lot about life when you're in a small area working day in and day out for a year. So, yeah, it was quite an experience.
That's humorous, kind of, because you learn out so much. But it keeps on top of my head. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Oh, yes. Oh,
And
yes.
you look at the situation in you talked about earlier the emotions and everything as you're watching it, and people have their stuff on their desk, and everybody has an
Yeah, they
emotional
lost their
attachment.
favorite pair of shoes, or
Yeah,
they lost a picture, or they lost, things that they lost that they had on their desk that they enjoyed on a daily basis. But um, everybody was grateful that no one was hurt. And everybody was grateful that we were able to build it back, and they all had a job. And they never lost their job or any hours. So that's what's important. Because they
yeah.
are here in the community supporting the community.
It's huge, and that's important because you get through it. But that's the whole entire
You do.
point: is not only do you get through it, but through that adversity, you get closer.
Right. You
You
do.
have these experiences. You're like, that team. I know them inside and out.
Yes, I do. But it was also a lot of fun. We got better together. It's just the truth.
Yep. This random curveball here, but it just made me think of this is when I was a kid. I had an abusive dad, and like my mom left my dad and got out, and he would stalk us, and he would ring our doorbell. Like, this is a crazy story, and I'm going to make it really short. But he would ring our doorbell. He'd stand outside and ring our doorbell for hours, and we had this crazy doorbell. I've never seen one since. When you press and ring it, it just buzzes, and it will just stay buzzing. And so he just put his finger on the doorbell, and it would buzz for hours. He would stand out there for hours, and my mom would make it this game, and like, not a game, but it's like, like, we're gonna stay quiet, and we just, I shared this before, but I felt like love throughout the whole entire thing. It was like fun, like, not fun. We knew what was going on, but at the
Right.
same time, I remember it for those close times and for how well we bonded, my brother, my mom, myself, and we made it through. And now we kind of laugh at that kind of stuff.
Right.
And it's just, what do you do with a difficult situation?
Correct. You need to find humor. You definitely do. You need to find the reason it's difficult, and then you need to disperse all the fear so that we can get together and figure it out without being um, excited and without being angry. And there's a lot of different emotions that you talk about, but like you said, you could have been angry because that bell was buzzing, or you
Hmm.
could have been fearful of what might come through the door, but your mom made you feel comfortable
She
and
made you feel
loved,
safe.
and she made you feel safe. And that's important. You also, that's important at everybody's workplace. You need to have a feeling of safety when you go every day to work. And so, yeah, that's very important.
Well, sometimes I think we take advantage, take for granted, not advantage, but take for granted the basic elements of being safe,
Hmm.
even at work. And when you're going into fight or flight situations, not saying that our jobs are difficult and stuff like that, but when you have that uncertainty every day, are you going to be your best? Are you going to come to work and serve people and
Right.
serve your community the best when you have all of the stuff going on inside of you?
Well, and everybody has what's going on inside of them, but
Yes.
then they sit down at the desk and the phone rings and somebody's having their worst day and is taking it out on them. So you have to give them the tools and the strength to take on the conversation that they're going to have, because we always tell them it's not about you. They're not yelling at you. They're yelling because of their circumstance,
Yep.
and it doesn't moment, but we find out, it's because they couldn't pay their bill, or it's because they just had a bad conversation with a spouse, or maybe they just had a fight with a child. Whatever it is, they're having a bad day, and they're trying to, and so it's our job to help them get out of that. So okay, I'm really sorry. This is, um, you're angry. Let's see what we can do. Not by firing back. Firing back never works. We have to have that empathy and understanding that they're having a bad day, and we'll get through this conversation.
I always like to say two negatives don't make a positive,
No,
only in math. When you
right,
meet it with the same negative energy, it's only getting worse.
right, right. And of course, food always helps.
And food, yes.
So it's really important that we have food. Our offices, they love potlucks. So we have several potlucks where people, they get to bring the food they made, or if they're not bakers or cooks, then they supply other parts of the meal. But um, eating together, your family. Yeah.
So true. That is so awesome. What are some other things that you've done over the years to keep that family culture?
Well, we have bucket golf. I'm not sure if you've done that,
I've
but
not done that, and
we
I'm
have bucket
intrigued.
golf. We have, of course, we love to do Day of Caring together. That's the United Way Day of Caring. We do things in the community. We've cleaned up the Rotary Garden. We've also done things as a team, lunches, dinners, those kinds of things. But we do different activities that are fun. So we had one year at Christmas, we all had to do gingerbread houses.
Oh, that's awesome.
They were very interesting, and then the community voted on what was their favorite one. We let them in the building, and they voted. We have participated in, chili cook-offs, those kinds of things. We had a smoking cook-off,
Oh,
so
that's
we
awesome.
had smoked meats. But a lot of it is around food because that's seems to bring people together.
I'm like, I'm ready for the smoked meat cook-off or the
Okay, we'll
chili. We're
invite
like,
you.
yeah, sounds good.
We have a good time.
Do you do that regularly, or is that an annual thing? Or
We do well. The potlucks are regular.
yeah,
The we do the chili usually regular. We have only done the smoking one time so far, but yeah, yeah. So
that's so much fun.
yeah,
Again, that the how food brings everybody together.
yeah, it does. It really does. And everybody, we have a lot of great cooks at our office. It's amazing.
That is amazing when you're
Yeah.
doing potlucks.
Yes.
Is it part of the interview process? Like,
Yeah. No.
so
Do you own a crock pot?
we're gonna need you to bring in a sample
That's
of
right.
your special dish.
Yeah.
It's awesome because I used to do like in interviews. The last interview, they'd come in and do a working interview and meet the team and see if they're a good fit for the team
Right.
and that kind of thing. And it'd be a fun one of like, bring your favorite dish or bring your
favorite
dish and we'll test it out.
Well, and a lot of us are also coffee holics. So we drink a lot of coffee at our office
Okay.
and have like 7 different flavors of cream all the time. And we have to have Keurig and we have to have brewed and So we also are very much into our coffee.
That is amazing. Okay,
And
so
we're gonna have to try your brand.
I was gonna say I'm like I'm grinding. I'm like I'm gonna send you guys a bag. Executive Wealth, they actually boycott when they're out of coffee because it's good coffee. They have to like when I
no.
bring it, I have to sneak it in so nobody.
So only they drink it?
Doesn't, yeah.
So they're greedy about their coffee.
Greedy about the coffee. Yeah, Jimmy Plasky is amazing. Like he always buys coffee for the office. He'll buy some for himself and then buy some for the office and make sure they have it. So
Yeah, fun.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what are and so many years of it, what are some of your favorite stories of clients and situations you worked with?
Hmm.
I know it's so hard because there's a database of them, but
Yeah, there is a database of them. I guess there's several that come to mind, but usually it's the bring about the glad days, and they we had one client who had a very unfortunate situation. She lost her husband, and it was a life insurance claim. We took care of her, and she was so grateful that she had the insurance and that it was able to support her. And a few years later, she was getting married, and she said, "Well, we have to use my insurance agent." They were wonderful to me, and her fiance said, "No, no, no, we have to use my insurance agent. You know, we are not using yours." And so they had this big discussion, and in the end of it all, it was us on both
That is
sides.
amazing.
So that was a fun story. It was amazing story because they told us, they came in and told us, "You're never going to believe we argued over whose agent we were going to pick, and you were both our agents." So they had never talked about it before, insurance, but when it came down to that point, so that was a fun story.
That's
You know,
so fun.
yeah. But we have a lot of clients that are they appreciate the advice and counsel that we give them. So they are so wonderful, and they tell other people, I think you will like and be trusting of this person. And so we end up with a lot of referral business in that way. But there's so many people that come back and say thank you, thank you, thank you. We had a house get hit by lightning, and it went down to the ground, it burned, and the people were able to, restore from the ashes. We have, there's just so many people that have things happen. And if we're able to help them along the way, that's what we're there for. Um, Giving them some, you know, care and concern during their trials. We allow them to meet right in our office because a lot of times the adjusters have to meet with them, and when they don't have a place, we did have a lady a few years ago when we had the high shear winds go through,
Yeah.
and her tree went right down on her house. She was an older lady, and she came in the office and she said, "I can't get in my front door and I need my medicine." And so everybody's like, "Okay, we're going to have to get somebody out there to cut the tree away." But I'm like, "Oh no, I'll just go get it." She said, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, is your door open?" "No, here's my key." I said, "Where is it?" And so I climbed through the tree and in the house and got her medicine and came out. And she goes, "I can't believe you did that." I go, "Well, you needed it, right?" We don't need to wait around. She needed it. She needed whatever it was, her medications. And everybody's like, "What are you doing?" I go, It's okay. I can climb through here. It's not a problem." So those are some of the stories about just helping everybody on a daily basis, because that's what we like to do. We want to help them so they're not in distress.
And I love it because sometimes helping people takes being creative and being outside of the box. It
Yeah,
takes
right.
climbing through the tree, right?
Right. All I could see was, okay, it's going to take how many hours to find somebody? They're going to have to say, well,
Yeah.
maybe in a couple days.
Yeah.
No, just I, it was. She told me where it was. I was on the phone with her, and she told me what cupboard it was in. And the tree was through her house. It was totally through her house,
Oh,
but it wasn't a dangerous. Like, it wasn't going to fall on me, so it wasn't a dangerous situation. It just was already down and blocking the whole door. So,
yeah.
but yeah. So we have a lot of interesting claims that happen, and the good news is being able to help people is what really is the whole end goal. If you bought the insurance, hopefully you don't have a claim, but on your worst day, we want to be able to make sure that you're taken care of.
And I can imagine how good that feels. And
Yeah.
we don't go into this hoping that something bad happens for
No.
our people, but when you can be there for them, in being in sales my whole life, I see sales as serving people.
Right.
And in situations like this, it can be hard, especially maybe if you're new selling insurance, to get over yourself.
Right. Right.
But then it's those situations of realizing that if you don't help somebody, this could come back and haunt them when they're going through their worst day.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but we are, uh, we have, there's just so many people and so many stories. It's been a wonderful career. It really has. I always tell people, why don't you want to be in insurance? Insurance is awesome. I never missed one of my children's. sporting events or things that they did in school. The come in and whatever the needed to be, because you can work it around your schedule. And that's another great thing about our industry. We can make it work. And if you call me at midnight, I'll answer the phone and help you because we're 24/7. So it's important that somebody has a number when they're having their worst day.
I'm so glad because we've talked a lot about the business and the stories and in the community and all that kind of stuff. But it is so important, especially as we're speaking to other business owners and entrepreneurs, is that balance. A lot of us, we get into it because we want that flexibility.
Right.
And then you get into real estate and you can work any 60 hours you want of the week, and like there's, or you're a solopreneur and you're doing all the things. And so work really never stops. And I think it's really important to make sure that no matter what you're doing, you are finding that balance. And when I got into this, I'm like, I want to coach my son's sports. I want to make sure that I'm going to any event. I want to make sure that when it's track season, I can get out and I don't have an appointment and whatever's going on. And when you take that control, you don't miss anything.
That's right. You have to take control, and then you're right. You don't miss it. You can make it work. So, yeah.
And then, and again, it's pouring back into our bucket because as we're going out and we're serving our community and we're doing this thing, we're answering the phone at midnight, we're being difference makers, we're taking care of people. It's so important that you're then taking care of yourself and you're not missing, you're doing the things that fill your bucket, like hitting your kids' sports and being there for your family.
Yeah. And I think that since this is for business owners, don't forget to take that time for yourself. You have to recharge so that you are better and so that you can give back double. You just recharge yourself, whatever that is for you. It's different for everybody. Not everybody wants to recharge in another state or in the sun, or their recharge could be different. Whatever it is that is good for them is what they should do, and it has to be on their calendar.
Yes.
So put it on your calendar and make it work. But it's a very rewarding opportunity if you can be in business for yourself.
So rewarding to the point I've stayed on this. I've burnt my career down to the ground. I'm like, never hire me. I'm not the guy to hire because it's, once you taste this and you can kind of have control of your destiny, so to speak, it's just a different game.
That's correct. You have control of your destiny, but you're also responsible for a lot. So you have to be able to take the weight. You have a lot of things that you want to make sure that everybody's mouth is going to get fed at the end of the day, that their paychecks are going to be available, and that you've held the team together in the right way.
I had a guest on who was a client of mine a few years ago named Mike Eller, and he'd brought up a stat that said every visionary entrepreneur touches intimately 300 lives across their span of their life. And you think about, because you're employees, but then they go home to their family, and how is work weighing on them when they get home? Are they there? Are they detached? Are they, are they still thinking about work? Are they thinking about how they had a horrible day? Or are they going, and how's that carrying over and impacting their lives? And so there is a lot of that pressure,
Right. Yeah, it is definitely, if you want to be in business for yourself, it's definitely a learning process of what you can and can't take home. But it's also really important that at the end of the day, everything is honest and ethical, and you can put your head on the pillow and sleep well. And I think that learning how to do that is really important. You don't necessarily have it. You need to learn it. You need to understand and learn from others. So, mentors are really important in anybody's business.
Huge.
Having somebody you can talk to that will help you figure it out.
Outside of your dad, who have been some of your biggest mentors?
It probably sounds funny, but my husband and I are pretty close, and my husband is an awesome mentor. We have different skills, So that is why we work together well. He has his skills and I have mine, and we both use them in the business. And then, of course, my sister has her skills, and but probably my husband.
That's so cool that that came back around because that was one of the questions I was thinking of earlier when you're talking about then your sister works with you, and now your son works with you, and as you
Hmm.
bring in the whole family, I
Hmm.
was going to ask you, how do you see different skill sets and personalities? Because I'm sure all of you are different and bring something different to the table.
That is correct. So, and none of us do the same thing every day. So, definitely we all have our own skill sets, and you have to recognize that, and you have to talk about that when you're planning. You have to really concentrate on, okay, who's going to do this, and who's going to, and if it doesn't work, change it up. That's my advice would be change it up. If it's not working, figure out how it might work, so that you can make your business better and stronger.
That is phenomenal. Barbara, this has been an awesome, awesome conversation. One thing I
Thank you.
do want to note for everybody, because we were talking about earlier, blocking that off and putting it on your calendar and making your free time. And there's so many people I work with. I want to make this note: do not negotiate your time. So
Right.
many people are so easy to give up their time that they put in the calendar. Like, I've got this calendar where it's wishy washy time, and you don't treat it like if you're going to meet a client. Act like that is your client, because that is your number one client. If you
Right.
don't breathe life back into yourself and take that time, you're going to run out of fumes. You're going
Right.
to run on fumes. You're going to run out of fuel, and you're not going to be able to make as big a difference as you want.
Right. Right. And so important that, and actually, I'm not kidding, put it on the calendar. Not say on Tuesdays I'm going to do this, and then
Yes.
Tuesday comes and you're, oh, it's all right, I'll do it next week. No, put it on the calendar and do it, whatever it is. Make sure that you take the time and do it.
So huge.
Yeah.
Barbara, thank you again so much for taking the time and coming out here and sitting down and sharing this with the audience.
Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is all mine.
All right. Thank you.